This is the great room where you see two rooms sort of connected here, bringing people together all in one space. That's the other side of the great room, sort of an entertainment bar there. Kitchen remodel. Again, very open, very modern. That's something that the ranch homes really lend themselves to, is because they're very clean lines. So a lot of the modern fixtures and furnishings that are in style currently go beautifully in these simple homes.
Very, very nice stuff. I was taking a look at that vessel sink in the one bathroom, and I'm a fan of the vessel style sinks. And I know some people are, you either like them or you don't, but that's just one thing I kind of like.
I like them in a powder room.
Well, in a powder room, yeah. They definitely look good in a powder room.
Yep. Well, I'd like to talk a little bit more about general efficiency measures. I do have some slides queued up of some additions you can make to a home to green it up a little bit. This is an example of a solar tube. These are great. They don't gain heat like a typical skylight would. There's the penetration through the roof coming down into the ceiling. That's an up-close look of the lens on the actual tube. And they come in different types. They don't all have to look prismatic like that. Here's an example of before and after in a bathroom setting. So quite dark and really just sort of a black hole in the room. And after, it's just amazing. Here's some radiant floor. Can you talk about radiant a bit, John?
Radiant, you know, it's one of those type heats that it just gives you, it's almost like gas heat. You just get that warm, toasty feeling when you've got radiant heat. And so many people do like it. It is such a cost-effective thing to do. Once again, in areas that you spend a lot of time in, whether they be your great room area, kitchen, bathroom, where you want that warm, toasty heat. And you can take that water, that circulating water, off of your solar hot water system, and it just makes a very, very cost-effective way to heat different rooms of your home. Definitely, and we do have a slide that gives an example of radiant heat and how it heats a home. These are some architecturally significant features to ranch homes. So if you have this one anchor architectural piece in a room, you can really build off it and use that to inspire. Here's an example of an existing fireplace that was given, the whole room was given a facelift. So if a little can go a long way in these very simply designed homes. Well, absolutely, and you can do so much, like you said, with an anchor piece. And a lot of these older style homes, you know, brick was really popular back in the day, and you've got a lot of brick fireplaces that in this day and age aren't as attractive. Well, you can knock that brick off and you can do either real stone or cultured stone facade and just make it look so much nicer. And that's just, you know, one of many things. You can replace a mantelpiece, you know, with a nice piece of reclaimed wood. There's so many things you can do to dress up these houses and really make them just killer looking in this day and age. And that's because the actual fireplace stack on the inside, that's a fire brick, that's different, it's veneered with the exterior brick, correct? Exactly. As long as the flume is okay, and in most cases they are, unless somebody has just used it day in, day out and just physically worn it out, just burn it out. Usually that's not a problem with the flume, so it's just the exterior face that you've got to give it a facelift, and that's very, very easy stuff to do. If I could go back to the heating and cooling aspects of a house for a moment, what are some other mechanically efficient systems that you like to use on projects? Well, you know, if you're doing a renovation, and it's highly possible somebody gets into a renovation and maybe the HVAC system has just been replaced a couple years back. The one thing they can definitely do that probably wasn't done when the unit got replaced, say the physical, you know, air handler, the compressor outside, the one thing that probably did not get looked into is the actual sealing of all the ductwork in the house. People don't realize that in a normal code-built home, your heat and air ductwork typically has about a 15% loss of air. Your air is just blowing out every joint in that ductwork. It's very wasteful. It'd be like your car driving down the road and you're losing 15% of your gas as you drive.
It is just so inefficient, so wasteful. So the one thing you can do when you're doing these renovations, if you don't need to upgrade the whole system and go with the higher efficiency heat pump, or maybe think about going geothermal or something of that nature, at a bare minimum, you can go in and make sure that you reseal every duct and joint so that you knock that 15% leakage number down to no more than, say, 3%. That's very doable when you're doing this renovation, and that's going to make a big difference. The other thing is, a lot of your older homes, the ductwork wasn't even insulated. And you can very easily wrap those ducts with at least an R8 type insulation, which once again is going to make a huge difference in your energy efficiency.
And if you're using a spray foam type insulation, ducts can also be sprayed.
They can. And the other thing, when you're up in that attic, when you're re-insulating, adding more insulation in your attic, you're going to want to take caulk and foam and check every penetration that goes through the attic to the living space. You're going to want to seal every penetration in that attic to once again add to the energy efficiency and the air infiltration of your home.
That's right, because heat rises.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of air infiltration, aren't there other sources of air infiltration in a home? What are some of the...
Everywhere. These old homes, you know, it's some of these pictures we've seen old homes where they've ripped the siding off and they look in the wall. There may be a piece or two of insulation here. There may be old newspapers crumpled up they just stuffed in the wall. They didn't have a good grasp on how to insulate homes back in the day. So yes, depending upon the level of the renovation, if you're stripping off, you know, the whole exterior, you know, there are different ways to add insulation to the walls. You can do it from the inside or you can do it from the outside, just depending upon the level of renovation you're doing on that home. But you're going to want to try to seal every penetration that goes to the outside world in some way. And it really just depends upon the level of renovation you're doing. And that's all the more reason I highly recommend, if you're doing a major renovation, to get one of these home energy raters in there, because they've got these smoke kits and these smoke bombs. They're gonna sniff out and tell you everywhere you've got bad air leaks in your home, show you all those leaks so that you can address all these, because a lot of them are not going to be visible to the eye or to the touch to see where that air is coming in from.
And the energy rating can get very scientific. There's something called a blower door test, where the home is sealed up and basically high pressure is pushed through the home and measured, so they can figure out what rate of leakage is occurring inside the home, and then give you a whole checklist on things that you can check within the home to make sure you're not losing very valuable preconditioned air.
And that's a very good point. Once again, depending upon the level of renovation, if somebody wants to make sure that their contractor, whoever they're getting to do all this work, if they're not doing it themselves, you know, has done a good job, they can have the HERS rater check it with the blower door test before anything is done, and then recheck it after all the work's done, just to see how much better they are.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about electrical tips or some plumbing tips?
Okay, well, electrical, you know, once again, there's so much that can be done easily on a home renovation to save electrical energy. Obviously, you're going to want to look at your lighting. At a bare minimum, try to replace as much lighting as you can in the home with CFLs, because those are going to save you 75% on your lighting loads. If you can go to LED lighting in areas, that's highly recommended, because it's even a little bit more energy efficient. And it lasts forever. You never have to replace LED lights. They last for like 20 years versus maybe 5 years for CFLs. So you want to look at the lighting. You're going to save a lot of energy there. You're also going to want to look at things like your hot water heater, depending upon the age of it, because your heating and air unit, that's your number one energy user in a home. It uses about 50% of your home's energy is your heating and air unit. Your water heater is right behind that. So what you're going to want to do on that is look at the age, see if the water heater should be upgraded, and if so, you're going to want to look at the type. Maybe you want to go with the solar hot water system. That's going to be the most efficient. A heat pump style is going to be about the second most efficient, and then right behind that is going to be one of the on-demand type hot water heater systems. At a bare minimum, if you just upgrade with the energy efficient electric hot water heater, I would recommend getting the zippered blanket that can go on the hot water heater to insulate it, so you're going to keep the heat in. Then the other thing we talk about a lot on the show is, if you've got a tank style hot water heater, even if you're not upgrading it, cut the thermostat down on it. You know, we go into so many homes and a person will have the thermostat on their hot water heater jacked up to 150, 160 degrees where you can't shower under that. It's too hot. Then they're just mixing that scalding hot water with cold water to knock it down so they can shower. They're just wasting energy. I tell people, and in fact in my home, because I don't even like that hot of showers, I keep mine cut down to about 115, and that's more than hot enough. I still have to mix it with a tad of cold water sometimes to make it bearable if I'm taking a shower under it. So I tell people, I say, why have that hot water heater cut up so high if you don't need it? Cut it down and save that energy.
Exactly. It's amazing the little things you can do to save really big amounts of energy and water. So since we're on the ranch topic, we have a few more slides for you guys to show you some examples of before and after, and this is in the case of if you really like the ranch style and you just really want to enhance its original design. So here's, you know, some of the people in their 20s and 30s are really into this kitsch look right now, the modern, postmodern, mid-century aesthetic. So these are all original designs, and they've just been cleaned up and repaired. And here's an example of a home that's been kept in great condition. This is a local Asheville area home, and as you can tell, it really hasn't been deeply renovated. It's just good bones. It was designed well in the first place, and you can really make these homes shine again. And we appreciate you joining us today on the show, and we do have some local resources that you can always keep in mind. We have some slides to end the show with. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Well, as we're talking about Energy Star, the one thing I didn't mention is on the electrical, of course, as you do this renovation, you may want to completely upgrade your appliances. They may be just about worn out. You're definitely going to want to make sure any electrical device you buy to go in your home is Energy Star rated. When you see that big blue logo, Energy Star, that means the device is 50% more energy efficient than its counterpart that does not have that rating. So of course, if you're buying a new refrigerator, new microwave, new dishwasher, new washing machine, you're going to want to make sure all those major components, as well as TVs and everything else, has that Energy Star logo, because it's going to be a higher quality component, and it's going to be 50% more energy efficient. So you want to look for that.
Great. And although there isn't a certification for existing homes locally yet, you can always reference the Healthy Built Home criteria. This is the logo. You can get information on this online, and if you're doing a renovation, you can still follow those guidelines. And there's a great resource publication by the Green Building Council here in Western North Carolina, and that's the cover of this publication. It's released on an annual basis, and it has excellent articles explaining how to do efficiency upgrades to existing homes and some new construction data, and then more importantly, a big list on who's who in the green contractor world.
Well, absolutely. It's got a full directory in the back, and it's got just about anything and everything you'll need if you're doing any type of new building project, renovation, etc. You will definitely have an abundance of phone numbers and people to contact and to figure out what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. So very good resource. I mean, I go to it all the time, and I'm still, finding new people I stumble across that I haven't dealt with, that I call and I quiz on different things. And, I can't say enough about the Green Building Council, the work they do here in the area, and just how this green building thing is spreading. I'm real proud of the fact that we are a mecca here in Asheville for green building. It's just phenomenal. Well, folks, had a good show, and this is Green on Green. Until next time, see you then.
Thank you for tuning in.